Hello everybody, you're very welcome today. We're joined by Barry Lambkin. He's the owner of Medichem. Medichem is based in Portarlington and they're suppliers of first aid products, among other products that you've added to your range over the last few months. Barry, you're very welcome. Would you like to give us a little background to your business, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. So Medichem, we started about 15 years ago. I'd worked in a similar business previous to that, but the guy who I worked for reached retirement age and decided to sell the business and develop the property where the business was located, which was the right thing for him, but not for me. So with a bit of help from a very experienced friend of my dad's, I took the plunge and never looked back.
Right. And you're based in Portarlington in the industrial estate there?
Yeah, on Lee Road here, so where free TV and that would be probably what people
okay.
do.
So by the nature of your business, you would have remained open as an essential service. So I'd imagine you were absolutely really busy during the run-up and during the lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, prior to the lockdown, when everyone was in a bit of panic mode, it was chaotic because products that we would normally stock, such as sanitizers and disinfectants and things like that, were very difficult to come by, and demand was through the roof. So the real challenge was trying to help as many of our customers as we could, which meant never really giving any individual exactly what they wanted. We had to try and ration things out, but we just about managed with that. And then when the lockdown came, we were still really busy, but it was a lot more manageable. I actually really enjoyed that phase of it because the pressure was off, and it was just about kind of helping people who we built relationships with over the years. And it was apart from that side of it, that there was no traffic, and I'd be up and down to Dublin. I experienced the North Keys in Dublin with no traffic on it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was surreal.
Well, that kind of helped, and I'm sure for you getting deliveries to your customers quickly. So
yeah.
in terms of government supports, you were in a lucky position that you didn't need to avail of the temporary wage subsidy scheme.
No, not government supports. We did need help from the bank, and
okay.
Yeah, we deal with AIB in Portlaoise with Anne Carroll there. She's the relationship manager, and in normal circumstances we don't really need to have a whole lot to do with the bank, but fortunately, we were under real pressure from a cash flow point of view because we were looking to buy in much bigger volumes of stock than we normally would, and from sources that we normally wouldn't purchase from, and that meant having to pay upfront, and we didn't have the cash to do that. But the bank were absolutely brilliant. They gave us exactly what we needed, and within probably 48 hours of going looking for it, it was there, and it made a massive difference.
It's great to hear a story like that the bank were really facilitated you being able to supply all of you mentioned earlier, you have lots of new customers and new opportunities kind of present themselves. So that was kind of there were pros and cons to that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I mean, there's, I suppose that in it kind of pre-COVID, my focus was on building the first aid side of the business. So we also do hygiene and janitorial products, which is where the sanitizers and disinfectants would lie. But the first aid side of the business was where I was trying to develop new customers. And when all of this kicked off, we were getting calls on a daily basis from the kind of companies that we would like to do business with. And whereas I saw the opportunity there to build a relationship with them, to do a favor for somebody who'd maybe not been returning calls or answering emails previously, I had to be really careful not to put myself in a position where I was going to let down an existing customer who had been really good to us over the years. And so it did mean having to ignore those opportunities in the early phase of it. But then when the lockdown came, we were able to help, food manufacturing companies, pharmaceutical companies, things like that, which would really appeal to us. And we had a bit of excess stock that we were able to help them with. We were able to get our hands on it, and demand did drop because of the lockdown. And yeah, that will hopefully stand to us in the future.
So there's been great opportunities for you to build solid relationships moving forward, hopefully. So in terms of, you mentioned you had an online shop, but you didn't jump into that because, well, you didn't need to, and you were just careful about that, moving towards that online kind of piece. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that? Yeah,
well, that probably gets me off the hook a little bit. We do have an e-commerce website, but it's not something that I've prioritized because it's not why I'm in business. I'm in business because I love interacting with other people, and relationship selling, I think, is the term that's used, but that's what I like to do. And e-commerce just isn't about that. It's completely faceless and soulless to me. So I've always seen the website as something that's there, but it's more like a kind of shop window. If you're contacting a potential new customer, they might look up your website just to check out your bona fides, and that's all I've ever seen it as. But look, in the beginning, we didn't put any of these products up on the website because we needed to hold them back for our existing customers. But when the time did come that we were better able to source stock, and there was a need in the market there, I didn't have the skills or the experience to be able to take advantage of that. And that would be the one big criticism that I'd have of myself looking back on this whole thing. And I've no excuse at all, because the businesses either side of us here, freetv.ie and thegardenshop.ie, they're just e-commerce businesses. They don't deal with the public for the most part. And Dave Marr, who is also my landlord and owns those businesses, is the most helpful and approachable person I've ever met in business. And so, look, I am going to look to change that and to develop that, and I lean on him, but I should have done it long before now. And then if I had, I would have been in a much better position to exploit the opportunities.
But it sounds like you did think about your strategy, and you could have run that way to the detriment of your already existing business. So, I suppose you might be overcritical of yourself. You still have had a great few months, and you said your best few months in business. Is that right?
By a long shot, by an absolute long shot. The best month that we had previously was when the swine flu happened, for the same reason. Yeah. But that was very short term, and when this started, I suppose it's kind of funny when you look back on it now. Maybe funny is not the right word, but I remember in the very beginning, somebody came looking for antiviral wipes, and antiviral wasn't really something that was in the dictionary for us at the time. People just looked for sanitizing wipes, antibacterial wipes, not specifically antiviral. And I went to a supplier looking for some, and he said, look, I have a pallet of them there. There's 300 packs in the pallet, but they're short dated. They expire at the end of June, and you'd be doing me a favor if you took them. Now, this customer was just looking for 50 packs, and I was trying to figure out how the hell would I ever get rid of the other 250. But I took them, and in the end, I've probably bought about 30 pallets of that product since then. We just, in the beginning, it just seemed like this was going to blow over and it wasn't going to be a big deal. But didn't see it coming, but that was very early in the piece.
Yeah, well, and it's here to stay for a long time to come. But it's great that it sounds like you have your supply chain well sorted as well to continue to supply, because I know a lot of people have kind of tapped into this whole market, you know, and kind of seen an opportunity. But you've been around this space for a long time, so you're well set up to continue and expand hopefully over the next few months. So it's great for the members to kind of see this interview today. For any of the members that haven't met you, I know we've had a number of networking events down in Port Arlington, and we were hoping to have more, but look, for the next few months we have to network in a different way. So at least this will give people the opportunity to kind of hear more about your business.
Brilliant.
So thanks very much for taking the time today, and looking forward to meeting you soon at our next network event.
Likewise. Thanks a million, Bernie.
Thank you.